a different platform. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Hello, hello, hello. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Hello, hello, hello. Okay. I'm gonna minimize that. Bismillah. Let's get TikTok ready as well. Okay. What the hell? Okay. Let me just try go live here. But wait, let me add this. Is it gonna let me add a second source to this? Let's double check. Where's that? Okay. First live, let's go. Why is it not letting me change the source? Which one's that? S34. Wait, what? Okay, let's delete that. Firstly, I had to check to see if we're 2 views. Hey, let's go. 2 views. Let's go. Before we start this, I'm gonna increase that by like that. I'm trying to add a second. I should have done this before, but it's all good. It's all good. We live and we learn. We live and we learn. Video capture, no. Display capture, yes. Display capture, add new source. Yes, that's what I want. Exactly, that's what I want. Exactly. Okay, this is gonna be incredible. This is gonna be perfect. Okay. Let's just minimize this quickly. Okay. AB world. Let's go. Let's go. Whoops. this? Or was it like this? Okay. It was like this. Okay. Let's go. Hey, we are live on YouTube. We are live on the YouTubes. Let's go. Let me just check the volume. 2-week stand down, bruh. What's going on here? Hey, look at the heart me. Look at the heart me. Guys, I'm live on YouTube. Please, somebody go and check it out for me. EAB World, live on YouTube for the first time. What? Trump announces 2-week ceasefire. Okay. That's fine. That's good. I mean, of course. That's great. Okay. Hey, Danny. Let's go. My first viewer, Danny. The first person to comment. Tap on here. You guys can tap on YouTube. Guys, we're live on YouTube as well. We are live on YouTube and TikTok. Let's go. YouTube EAB World. YouTube EAB World. Danny. Who's that? Hello. Hello. How you guys doing? Wait, I'm gonna actually... Guys, we're live on YouTube as well. We are live on YouTube and TikTok. Let's go. Let me increase this. YouTube EAB World. YouTube EAB World. Danny. Hey, Susie. How you doing, Susie? Hello. Guys, I've got. Oh, this is annoying. How you guys doing? I've got a delay. I've got a delay on YouTube. Let me know if you guys can hear clearly. Yeah. Isabel. Man, Isabel. How are you doing, Isabel? Let's go. Let me increase this. YouTube EAB World.
When he ran for president in the last election, and millions more Christians around the world rooted.
Danny. Hey, Susie. How are you doing, Susie? Hello. Guys, I've got. Oh, this is annoying. How you guys doing? I've got a delay. I've got a delay on YouTube. Let me know if you guys can hear clearly. Yeah. Isabel. Man, Isabel. I need. How you doing, Isabel? Let's go. Let me increase this. YouTube EAB World. Hello?
When he ran for president in the last election, and millions more Christians around the world rooted.
Danny. Hey, Susie. How you doing, Susie? Do you know what it is? Hello. Guys, I've got. Oh, this is annoying. How you guys doing? I've got a delay. I've got a delay on YouTube. Let me know if you guys can hear clearly. Yeah. Isabel. Man, Isabel. Where am I hearing the repeat from? Let's go. Let me increase this. YouTube EAB World. Hello?
When he ran for...
Okay. Can you guys hear a repeat? I'm trying to figure out if Tucker and you are on the same volume. I think Tucker's going to be a little bit more louder. I think so. Yeah. Hey, who's my top fans? Oh, the top fan is Danny. Number 1, Susie. Number 2, it's just you two here. Hey, we got 5 viewers. Let's go. 5 viewers on the first stream. I'm loving this. Am I officially a YouTuber now? Am I officially a YouTuber, guys? Let's go. Hey, you guys are double tapping the screen there as well. I can see you guys. I see you guys. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. I'm still up the tree. It's me, EAB. Okay. I need to put something. Okay, I'm gonna do that. Let me quickly do this. Sweet potato. Damn, sweet potato. Damn. Sweet potato, the legend. Let's go. Oh, I don't like the fact that you can see that there. I don't like that. How am I going to remove that? Oh, damn. Yeah, I don't like that. That's there. I might do that. Yeah, I might do that. That's okay. Let's go. Sweet potato. How you doing, sweet potato? Guys, I'm going to have to look at my phone for you guys on TikTok, because the TikTok, look, I've got the YouTube here. Guys, by the way, we're live on YouTube, guys. Live on YouTube. Live on YouTube. We're moving away from Kick for a little while. We're going to try out YouTube. Let me see if I can add... can I add the text? Let's add the text. How many people we got on YouTube? 6 people. Let's go. Let's go. Live on you. I know they're not gonna allow this, so you at EAB World. Okay. Perfect. I think that's good. I think that's good. I'll put it right here. I'll put it right here. No. It's been a long time since you've been here, Isabel. So we do the reactions on EAB World Live and on YouTube. We are starting. I'm officially a YouTuber now. And we're doing the battles, campaigns, and everything else on EAB World. So content as well will be on EAB World. Beautiful people on YouTube, TikTok. Thank you. Thank you. Double tap the screens. Share the live. Let's go. Let's go. I'm not going to prolong this. We are live on YouTube. I've already put it on. So, I know I have been busy. No problem, Isabel. As long as you're healthy, you're smiling, that's the main thing. That's the main thing, and that goes for every single one of you. As long as you guys are happy, you're smiling. Having a break from social media is a must. It's definitely important. So, okay. Let's go. This is the recent video of Tucker Carlson. When was it? 6th of April, and it's at 1.4 million. Woo! Woo! Okay. Let's go. Beautiful people, please double tap the screen. This is our first live on YouTube. I don't know. What else can you do on YouTube? Double tap the screen. Let's go. I don't know what else you can do on YouTube. I can't see it really, but yeah, you guys got a couple emojis there. Okay. And this is a new start for us. New start. Hopefully, God willing, it works out. Let me just see something actually. I just saw that something is a little off. That's gonna really annoy me if I don't fix that. So let's fix that. The camera's a little bit I'm gonna do that. Okay. Yep. Okay. Do you know what? I'm gonna take this off because let me leave it actually. Let me leave it. Is there any way for me to drag this down a little bit? No. That's fine. No problem. Beautiful people, apologies for yesterday. We start again today. Let's go. Yesterday, I had a little heart to heart. And I hate having these conversations, but unfortunately, we've had a couple issues, but we're getting through it. We're getting through it slowly but surely. Slowly but surely. Okay. I think we're all good. Let's go.
Sleazy Southern Baptist preacher who says whatever for money. Okay, got it.
Hey, sweet potato, let's
We've
go.
ignored that this could actually be real. There's something going on here. And we shouldn't.
Okay. So I'm going to skip the monologue because I'm not going to lie, I watched the monologue and like 5-10 minutes into the whole interview, the interview, they go through basically the monologue. So we can skip that and then go on to the interview section of the thing. So let's go. Again, this is the title is Tucker on Trump's desecration of Easter and the warning to Christians everywhere, which is interesting. Obviously, Tucker is a Christian, so he's a very faithful person, and as a Muslim, I respect him a lot. He is somebody that always, in my opinion, he speaks the truth, and he's completely changed his stance from where he was back in the day, and he admits that himself. So it's great that people admit their mistakes, and to see them sort of grow in a way and realize that certain things in life, such as this whole propaganda of hating Muslims, is not working anymore. This whole thing about Zionism and Christian Zionism, that again it does not make sense. And Tucker and Candace are really leading the charge when it comes to people, making them wake up, them wake up from all different groups, all different backgrounds, all different religions. You have a lot of Muslims that love Tucker Carlson, a lot of Muslims that love Candace Owens, and it's because they're speaking the truth. They have woken up themselves. Candace always says that she was a Zionist back in the day. So obviously working for Daily Wire, Daily Wire is doing some interesting things to our girl Candace. But again, they will never win. This is the thing. This is why they're panicking. They're shaking a little bit. They will never win, because at the end of the day, this is good versus bad. And I'm going to put it as straight as I can. This is literally good versus bad. People that are always trying to do dodgy things, people that are always trying to cause chaos and mischief and hatred, and people are slowly but surely waking up to this. You see, guys, we just connected with somebody that is in Gaza right now, right? We just connected with him in the previous account on EAP World, and he showed us the shrapnel that went into his tent, right? And this person, I said to him, he's a inspiration to me because he's still smiling. Regardless of what happens, the guy is still smiling. And this is what they hate. You cannot stop somebody that, regardless of what happens to them, they raise their hands to God and they thank God. They'll just walk away from that person. So they want us to be far away from the Creator, which is not working, because people are finally realizing that no, there's purpose in life, right? There's purpose in life. I'm here for a reason. We have a path, but every single one of us, we are in this path together, right? And this is why I always end our lives on TikTok. This is the first live on YouTube. But we always end the live on TikTok, regardless of what our faith is, our skin color, what our background is, where we're from. May God guide us all and protect us all, because this is literally a war that we are in with regards to literally the good and the evil. And may God accept us from those who are of the good and who spread goodness and good character. And yeah, I mean, this is what I want to do as much as I can. I'm not perfect. Nobody is perfect but God. But, you know, just these little things I think are beneficial. And yeah, I thought if we're going to start the first live on YouTube, let's lay a good foundation. Let's start off with a nice little prayer as well. And let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
With Nathan Apfel. So thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I think you will unravel many mysteries. I'd never heard of Paula White. I ran into Paula White for the first time, heard her name for the first time when I ran into her in person right outside the Oval Office last winter, right after the inauguration. And she introduced herself to me and said, I'm the head of the Religious Liberty Commission or something. And I remember thinking, I'm so glad there is such a thing, because we need it. We need religious liberty almost more than anything. And I said, I felt moved to say, just like escaped from my lips, thank you. And I really hope that you will do something to protect the Christians of the Middle East, particularly in the Levant. There are a lot of great Christians there and they're being hurt and nobody seems to care.
Thank you, Isabel.
And she like recoiled. I remember thinking she doesn't like this at all. That was my first and only experience with Paula White. And so I've wondered ever since, who is Paula White and how did she become the president's main spiritual advisor? You told me this morning that you went to church on Easter Sunday, which was yesterday, at her church.
Mm-hmm.
And so before you give us the overview, can you just describe what that was like?
It was an interesting experience. You know, when you see Paula on stage next to Trump, or you see any big evangelical leader, Kenneth Copeland, Franklin Graham, you'd expect their church to be massive.
Yeah.
You know, thousands and thousands of people.
They're pastors. They have a church. They're pastoring people. They're
shepherds.
Exactly. They're the shepherd.
Yeah. And so we pull up, and I expected a very big building.
Where is it?
It is in Apopka, I think I'm saying it right, Florida. So just north of Orlando.
Okay.
And I've been to Joel Osteen's church, you know, tens of thousands of seats. I've been to Second Baptist, 93,000 members in that church. I know big church, right? It looked like one of those metal sheds, you know, one of those big, like 5,000 square foot. It looked like an airplane hangar, basically. And I was like, this is just awkward. It was, the parking lot probably fit 50 cars. And so it was just an overflow in a dirt lot. This is a good size, like, setting for you. They just had a simple coffee maker, like a standard pot coffee for their entire congregation. And so I walked in, I counted about 400 chairs. And when I got there, which was the time the service started, there was 7 people sitting.
On Easter Sunday?
On Easter Sunday. And so we walked in, they put us 2 rows from the stage. And ironically, Paula's daughter-in-law approached me. And I was there with my girlfriend, and she approaches us and goes, who are you? And I'm wearing a floral shirt, yellow sunglasses, and an Alabama hat. Like, I try to be awkward in these situations. And she comes straight up and she goes, I'm Paula White's daughter-in-law. And I'm like, I'm Nathan. I don't hide who I am. And she's like, would you take a photo in front of our Easter display? And I'm like, sure. Mm-hmm. And so I walk over, and Paula White's daughter-in-law is taking a photo of me. And I'm like, okay, can we get it? And I wouldn't be surprised if it's on their Instagram this morning, because it was for like their Instagram. So we go in, we sit down, and it packs out to about 200 people on an Easter Sunday. One of the 2 biggest, Christmas and Easter, the 2 biggest holidays for Christianity. 200 people show up to this thing, mostly African Americans. I was one of 6 white people. And then you got this white woman on stage. And that was the setting.
That's her church?
Her church, yeah.
Well,
don't get me wrong. They got the lights and the fog machine and the jib arm that flies over the crowd. It's a production studio is what I would call it. Production stage.
So the point is not to minister to the people in the church, take care of their problems, counsel them, bring them closer to Jesus. The point is to produce a TV show? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I would say. Similar to Joel Osteen, he's a TV producer by trade. You know, Kenneth Copeland, same thing. When I went to Kenneth's church, it was very small. Sat maybe 400 or 500 people, and it was a massive studio with multiple jib arms, multiple cameras, security, massive stage. I produce TV. Like, they produce TV. Yeah.
That's fascinating. Mm-hmm. So did she preach?
No, her son preached.
Yes.
So she got up and gave a little message in the morning, a little prayer. And there was a really weird dynamic between her and her son. And I've got their bylaws, which I think explain why. But her son gave and got up and gave, honestly, a really sound message. Like, I give a shout out to Brad. Like, that dude knows the Bible. And it was very interesting to me because I saw him visibly wrestling with this idea of shepherding and then the idea of the institution. And there was times where he would look at his mom and just throw daggers at her about corruption, power. It was a very interesting dynamic, and she would belittle him too. It was wild.
During the service?
Yeah, during the
On
service.
Easter Sunday.
On Easter Sunday. And then once he finished the sermon, which, hey, Brad, great sermon until the very end, because then he's like, I don't want to do an altar call, but I'm a charismatic, so I have to do an altar call. And I'm like, well, you don't have to do an altar call.
What's an altar call?
It's basically him saying, hey, if you're not a Christian, come down to the stage. You're going to say, Jesus is my savior. I'm a sinner. And boom, you're a Christian. And that's a relatively new technique in Christianity. 200 years ago, altar calls were not a thing. And so altar calls are just a kind of a new tool that churches use to read metrics, because at the end of the day, how are we performing? Oh, here's how many salvations we've had and how many baptisms we've had. And so he's not for the altar call, but you can tell he's wrestling with the institution that his mom gave him. And then after the altar call, she got up and I'll quote her here. She goes, I'm going to speak for 60 seconds. She spoke for 8.5 minutes. I have the recording, how to give her money. And yeah.
She did an 8.5 minute money pitch in church?
Correct. Yeah. At the end.
What did
look, obviously mega churches are pretty famous all around the world for doing stuff like this. But of course, other faiths do this as well. In our faith as well, unfortunately, there is stuff like this. Look, I don't mind if I know that the money is going to go to something good, but you should never pressurize somebody to give. If it comes from their heart, then they can give. Like, for example, there's a verse in the Quran that says there's no compulsion in religion, meaning you can't force somebody to wear the hijab, for example. You can't force somebody to do anything. They have the freedom of will. If they follow, it's up to them. You cannot force somebody. Of course you can't. Now, if that's for religion, then what do you think about, for example, people that want to give money? I mean, some of these videos that I see of these mega churches, some of you send these to me on TikTok. It's actually, it's funny that this actually exists to this degree. And it's surprising that these people are still going on. Like, I think I saw a video where some guy was like, he wants 2,000 from each member. And the lady went up and she gave, I think, $1,200. And he was like, you're not listening to me. He was so rude to her. I was like, bro, take the money that she's giving. Maybe this is all that she can afford. Who are you to force somebody to give X amount of money? Whatever comes from their heart, this is what they should give. And again, we do have it in our faith as well. And all of these mega churches and whatever, these certain religious establishments, unfortunately, the world that we live in today is, you really can't trust these charities and these organizations. There's so many little, there's so little in number, the real organizations that are actually doing something for the sake of God, and they're actually helping those in need. Unfortunately, majority of these charities, majority of these organizations, they are just out there to make some money and show that they're helping to make even more money. It's crazy. And again, how these people sleep at night is unbelievable. I don't know. I really do not know. It's crazy. I mean, and for example, giving in charity in the religion of Islam, we should give charity. We should try to give charity as much as we can, what we can give. Not going over what you can't handle, for example, going and taking a loan or something and then giving. No, God doesn't want this from you. So, for example, there's actually a saying of the Prophet that you should give in charity even if it's a date seed. You see, a date seed doesn't really have value, but your intention is, this is all I have, a date seed, and I'm giving this for the sake of God. So God will accept your intention, of course. So yeah, it's very interesting, these certain and again, I don't want to just pick on one religious group. As a Muslim, I'm saying this. There are ridiculous people. There's a guy, Chuf Chuf guy. He literally does some stupid thing with his beads, and he does like absolutely ridiculous. And he charges like £10,000 per event. £10,000. Crazy. And what does he do? Nothing. But it's always packed. His events are always packed. And it's very sad. This is why, guys, always I tell you guys one thing. And that is that may God guide us all. Because those people, I feel sorry for them. All these people going to that guy's events is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So many scholars, Islamic scholars, have come out and said, look, this guy is a fraud. Don't give your money to this guy. You know, they've banned him from multiple countries, but he still comes to the UK. We've got freedom here. He still comes to the UK and he's getting money per event. Like, he goes to different cities and everything whenever he comes here. And then he just goes back home, wherever his country is. Crazy. Absolutely wild.
What did she say?
She said, she had an envelope and she goes, my son moved me so much. In this envelope, I have a sacrificial gift for him in this church. She didn't tell us what it was or how much it was. And she goes, well, if I could, I'd sell my house, but I can't sell my home.
Why?
I don't know. I would ask her the same thing. And she goes, I have shoes and jewelry, but I can't sell those. And so this is my sacrifice. And then she looked out and she goes, you guys need to sacrifice. She goes, that nice Easter dress you're wearing, your sacrifice should be more than that dress. And she goes,
see what I mean? This is what I'm talking about. Kelly on YouTube. Oh, damn. Oh, no. Sorry, guys. Sorry. So, but anyway, Kelly on YouTube says, I seen a video yesterday of the pastor locking the door until he had 40,000. I did see that as well. I mean, you know, I'm laughing at this, but seriously, it's not a joke. It's actually disgusting that these people do this. Like, seriously, it's actually disgusting that they do things like this. You cannot force somebody to give. Again, you don't know what that family is, their situation is. So how you have no right to do this. But unfortunately, some people are not shy. They're literally just not shy.
Because Christ was the sacrifice and the offering and the tithe, but that doesn't mean it stops with Christ.
Oh, this is a hard sell.
Hard sell. So you need to sacrifice.
Jesus died, so send me money.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then it was cute. She goes, oh, and you know, we do so much for the community, which they do things for the community. She goes, we do a food pantry and we give away food. Well, you don't pay for that food. That food is delivered to the church and then the church distributes it. So you're raising money for a food pantry that you have, but you don't have to buy the food. And so it's the carrot. I always say churches will use a carrot or organizations will use a carrot to get you to give. And out of your gift, let's say it's 100 carrots that they get, and they're going to use that one carrot to kind of dangle in front of your face.
Did you get a sense that Paula White was leading like any kind of pastoral care? You know, people have problems in churches as in everywhere else. And one of the main jobs of a pastor is to be the shepherd for that flock, right?
It sounds like her daughter-in-law likes to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Charismatics are very charismatic, you know, so she prays in tongues and, you know, they do all that. So they're very into that. But Paula walked in after the service started. I saw her come in and she walked out before it left. Or before it ended and she left.
Actually?
So, oh, yeah. I wouldn't say there's any on-site shepherding that Paula does.
So who is Paula White exactly? And pardon my ignorance, but it's just she's become this figure. She's one of the people who prayed over the president and encouraged this war with Iran, a country with over 1 million Christians in it. But she has like played a role in our foreign policy. So I think and of course she's been used and has allowed herself to be used to justify this war and violence in the name of Jesus. So I think it's worth asking, like, where does she come from? Who is this person?
I don't know her upbringing, but I'll start with this. I will give Paula the benefit of the doubt that she came into the church space wanting to do good.
Yes.
She wanted to save souls. She wanted to preach the gospel. I believe that. But I also believe
I think that's we should always extend that benefit of the doubt to people.
Okay. So when she's presenting that gospel, she has to play in a certain legal realm, which is religious institutions, corporations in America. I firmly stand on my word that legal architecture will corrupt anybody that goes into the mission or that ministry full time. So she started a church in Tampa called Without Walls with her husband, Randy Knight. I went to the building Saturday because I wanted to see where that was. So I drove up to Tampa, and now it's a bar. It's like a restaurant bar. And so I went in.
The church is a bar?
Well, so I went in and talked to the restaurant. I'm like, hey, was this Paula White's church Without Walls? And the manager was like, yeah.
So just a quick update. We were going to cover what's going on with USA and Iran. Trump has announced officially that there is a 2-week ceasefire. So, I mean, yeah, there's a 2-week ceasefire. Let's see. At this point, I don't believe in anything. To be honest with you, they'll announce a ceasefire. How many times have we seen the Zios announcing a ceasefire, and then all of a sudden, literally hours later, they still do what they want to do. So we shall see. We shall see. Look, we pray that all innocent lives are protected, and may God curse the oppressors. I will always say this. These people are absolutely disgusting. Putting all of this fear in innocent people's lives. It's very sad.
So she's like, we get this question a lot, actually, which is fascinating. So I don't know the financial exchange or the real estate side of things, but the original Without Walls church was bulldozed, and then that restaurant bar was built on the property.
So she and her husband started a church in Tampa.
They started a church in Tampa called Without Walls. There's some scandal wrapped around that church. They used to work, or they're very loudly talking about how they work in prostitution. They help prostitutes. They help the needy in that area. And so I talked with a past employee who said that, and we're getting the tapes right now. We found some old VHS tapes from Paula back in the day. So those are actually they just arrived in my house. Very excited to look at those. But they said, there's a rundown hotel on the property next to us. We bought that hotel. We're going to turn it into a rehab facility for prostitutes and drug addicts. And that's going to be our main witness. Awesome. That's right where I think Christ would be, is hanging out with the hurting, the needy, the prostitute, the widowed.
Yeah.
And so they started raising money for this hotel that they had built. And they raised, I don't have the exact amount, but hundreds of thousands of dollars. And some of their congregants mortgaged their homes for it. Well, come to find out, they never even bought the hotel. This was just all theory and a good intentioned idea. And so that really crippled the church. And at the same time, her husband kind of, I'll just say, fell off the wagon. And so they got divorced. And her spiritual advisor was T.D. Jakes. Do you know who T.D. Jakes
Yes,
is?
I've met T.D. Jakes.
Yeah. So her spiritual advisor.
Famous black preacher, built like a linebacker.
Yep, huge. Yep. He was her spiritual advisor. He was also another pastor's spiritual advisor in Opopka. And unfortunately, that pastor in Opopka OD'd in a bathtub. And
On drugs?
On drugs, yeah. And he was with a prostitute. The prostitute made the emergency call. He died. And so T.D. Jakes, as Without Walls is crumbling, T.D. Jakes, as the spiritual advisor, tells Paula to go take over this church in Opopka. So Paula White moves to Opopka, takes over that church, which they rebranded to Story Life Church. And that became her home church.
Wow, that's quite a story. So then what happened? She gets remarried, or?
She's remarried to one of the band members of Journey, that awesome band that I love to listen to. Yeah. So he plays piano for her on stage, as she preaches. It's a great husband-wife duo. Yeah. So she did pastor this church. She's since passed it down to her son, Brad Knight. And why did she pass it down? Because she became a special government employee under Trump. And you can't run a church. You can't run. I believe the rule is you can't run a nonprofit, or you can't be raising money outside.
So I don't want to judge her as a person. There's a lot written about her personal life. I don't know, what is true and what is not true. So I don't want to repeat it, but it's kind of defined by personal scandal.
Correct.
Right. True or not, right?
There's a lot of personal scandal that I won't even go into.
Well, of course, because I don't know, and I don't want to repeat things that are not true. But it's sexual scandal. Those are the allegations. So there's that. And I do think in order to maintain credibility, I also think like your faith requires you to like explain that and to show people that it's, true and repent, apologize, be better, or prove it's not true. But like that seems all kind of unaddressed. So how did she wind up, given all that, the president of the United States chief spiritual advisor?
Okay, sorry, you guys were muted. Sorry. I'm gonna pause this for a second because there's something interesting going on. So since the announcement, I'm gonna show you guys this, and I'll bring this over as well. Since the announcement, which was announced 33 minutes ago, in the past 30 minutes, they're saying 15 planes have left Tel Aviv over the past 30 minutes. The Israeli government has fled. This is what they're saying. And there's CCTV footage. I can show you guys a little bit. Let me zoom into this. This is on X. I'll play it quickly. I don't think there's any volume, but it's showing multiple planes leaving. Yeah, that's interesting. Ethan Levins, I think I know this guy actually. Yeah. This is this is that guy that keeps on giving coordinates. If you guys know who he is on TikTok, he's great. He's great. 15 15 planes have left. Interesting. What do you guys think about that? Very interesting. By the way, I am on X as well, EAB World Live, EAB World. This is the announcement, so I'll show you guys this as well. Based on the conversations with Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and the Field Marshal Asim Munir of Pakistan, and wherein they requested that I hold off the destructive force being sent tonight to Iran, and subject to the Islamic Republic of Iran agreeing to the complete, immediate and safe opening of the Strait of Hormuz, I agree to suspend the bombing and attack of Iran for a period of 2 weeks. This will be a double-sided ceasefire. The reason for doing so is that we have already met and exceeded all military objectives and are very far along with a definitive agreement concerning long-term peace with Iran and peace in the Middle East. We received a 10-point proposal from Iran and believe it is a workable basis on which to negotiate. Almost all of the various points of past contention have been agreed to between the United States and Iran, but a 2-week period will allow the agreement to be finalized and consummated. On behalf of the United States of America as President and also representing the countries of the Middle East, it is an honor to have this long-term problem close to resolution. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Interesting. It seems like Pakistan got involved. The Prime Minister got involved, Shehbaz Sharif. Let's see. I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually waiting for Iran's response. Is there a response from Iran? I don't know. I don't think I haven't seen anything, but yeah. Alex Jones says, I don't support Benjamin Netanyahu, but the fake stories put out every week that he has cut and run is delusional crap. Alex, have we lost you, Alex? Is that what's going on, Alex? Come on, please, let's not lose you, Alex. I think we have though. I think we have. Where the hell is the thing? Sorry, I've got NASA still running on. Where is this? Okay, here it is.
I've talked to a past employee of hers who, Paula's a very bold woman, very loud. I had never seen
I
her.
don't consider that a compliment at all. I just want to be clear.
What, bold and loud?
Yeah, I'm not.
By the way, Sweet Potato says, I don't believe this on YouTube. Kelly says, really strange. Yeah, I find it a very strange announcement, to be honest with you. I don't think it's, it's, let's see. I'm not going to say anything until I hear on the other side as well. If the Iranians come out and say, I don't know what's going on, what is he talking about, then, we can maybe speak after that. We did get a response. I can say that. Okay, Robert confirmed. We did get a response. So they must have spoken to somebody. Look, obviously, Iran is fighting back, but come on, it's against a superpower. They know this as well. So it is going to end up, hopefully, with talks. But the thing is, the 2 times that Iran has sat on the table, what has happened? They've been attacked. So obviously they're not going to sit on the table, especially after the killing of their supreme leader. Yeah, they're not going to back down from this easily. So yeah, Christmas Fairy on YouTube says disingenuous. We shall see. 10-point plan, I doubt it will be workable. We shall see.
Not into it.
No, either am I. And so I had never been around her before. But when her son was preaching and her son would say something, she would always be the loudest one, yell, "Amen, brother. Go, son." She just wanted to.
I find that awful.
Yeah.
And we're told we have to think that's great. I don't think it's great at all.
Yeah. But
sorry.
So
Well-behaved women really make history. I don't know about that. I mean, stop.
Yeah. But
excuse me.
This bit I'm gonna play until this bit is done, and then there's another bit as well, and then we're gonna go on to something else, because this is I just wanted to play this section. There's a 10-minute video of Tucker just explaining a few things as well. So, and then we're going to go on to another sort of interview, which is pretty big. So let's go.
I would agree with you. But so the stories that I've heard from her employees are Trump was a mark from the early 2000s. So she would go down to Mar-a-Lago and hang out at Mar-a-Lago, just waiting for Trump to pass. And when Trump would pass, she'd approach him. And she's a very bullish, bold woman. So she kind of had a mark on Trump for decades. And then same thing in New York. She rented an apartment in Trump Tower, and she stayed in Trump Tower waiting to have FaceTime with Trump. So she's been playing the long game with Trump.
Is she like a well-known theologian?
No.
So but I guess all I'm saying is there are all kinds of predators around all power centers, including
100%.
the White House, right? It's just that's the nature of power. It's like a bug light. It draws the Michael Cohens of the world into your orbit, right? People who want power and money. But if you're going to be the spiritual advisor, you would think there'd be some track record of, I don't know, Christian living.
So I got a question for you, Tucker. Can I call you Tuck?
Call me whatever you want.
So should your business model, if you're a pastor, should your business model emulate Christ? Church cannot read her bylaws. The people who fund her cannot read her bylaws. The only reason why they came out was because of a lawsuit. I'm going to jump to page 2 really quick about membership. Members of the congregation are non-voting. Members of the board of directors are voting. So congregants who fund it have no say over anything. We'll jump a few pages further about removing officers. So if for some reason she had a scandal right? Usually we remove officers from corporations that have scandals or abuse their control and power. But not for her. Ready? Any officer except
Like the
past
stream, guys,
president,
on
she's the
YouTube.
past
Like the
and president,
stream.
may be removed from his or her office by the board of directors. The past or president shall have the authority to remove any officer from his or her office at any time at her discretion. So she cannot be removed because any officer except the past or president can be removed, and then she can fire anyone at any time for anything. So she has unilateral control. It gets better. Ready? Section 5 is resignation, removal, succession of past or president. If the past or president voluntarily resigns, she may designate her successor. The past or president shall serve as president and a member of the board of directors until her death or resignation without need of election or appointment. She shall not be subject to removal. These
It
are her bylaws.
says that?
Says that.
Is this a monarchy? What is this?
It's a monarchy. It's a monarchical power.
Again, classic, mega church, or, these individuals that try and use religion to manipulate people. Classic tactics. So I'm going to stop it here because, I'm going to go into the video that I wanted to see with you guys. Give me just 2 seconds. How we liking the stream on YouTube, by the way? Let me know. You guys liking it? Whoops, what happened? It's not perfect, but we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. It's not perfect, but we're definitely gonna get there. So tomorrow it's gonna be a little bit better because I'm gonna be connecting my camera directly, and I'll probably go live on my phone on. Actually, how is that gonna work? I'll do something. I'll figure something out. That's fine. Where's that video? One of the videos is this, so I'll get that up. And the other one, I think it's on Tucker Carlson's network. Yeah. Okay.
The President of the United States keeps laying down markers. You can't go past next Tuesday at 2 p.m. or whatever. You must open the strait, or else you'll be living in hell, as if we're not there already. And at a certain point, what we're doing is revealing that we've exhausted conventional power. If there's some tricky way to open the Strait of Hormuz by air, probably would have done it by now, because we are on a path to plunge the world into global depression and famine. And that's not hair on fire panicanism. That's math. 30% of the world's fertilizer, 20% of its energy? Yeah, that's a global depression and famine. What happens to Africa? 1.5 billion sub-Saharan Africans without enough fertilizer? Well, a lot of them will be living in the United States. That's just going to happen. It's right.
I mean, the whole thing that they talk about immigration, and look, I'm not for mass immigration, although we should all do our part in society, and countries need to do their part as well. But when it comes to just letting everybody in, no sort of no system in place, no nothing, that's not great, then yeah, I don't agree with that. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't do our part. Of course we should in society, and countries definitely should, instead of wasting their money funding certain other countries that we shouldn't mention. They can use that money on their own citizens and helping those that are actually in need. 100%. If I knew that my tax that I'm giving is actually being used on us firstly, but then other people that are actually in need, I'm fine with that. And I know a lot of people would be fine with that. The reason why we're not fine is because 400 million of PPE during COVID, 400 million pound of PPE during COVID was just vanished. And all the billions that we're sending to the blue and white state. Yeah, I don't want that. I don't like that. A lot of people don't want that. Majority now, they don't want that.
Right across the Atlantic Ocean. Check a map. So getting the strait open is the essence of the mission. It is the strategic goal. By the way, not to be bitter, it was open on February 27th and had been for, since there were pirates roaming the strait. For modern history, it had been open. Now it's closed because of this war. Okay, so there's that. But leave that aside. Okay, that was then. How do we get it open? Conventional airstrikes will not open the strait for very obvious reasons. You can close it with mines. So if you reach the end of your conventional power, where does that leave you? Oh, with non-conventional power. What's that a euphemism for? Nuclear weapons. And the effects of that hardly need to be explained. Well, they can't be fully known because modern nuclear weapons have never been used. But you can just draw obvious conclusions, like life in Iran, not possible. So you wipe out a country of 92 million people. What about directly across the Persian Gulf? What about the 7 other countries, all of them allies of the United States, the biggest oil producing countries in the world? Could you live there? What about the 100-odd million people who live in those countries? Maybe not possible for them either. Would a nuclear strike be followed by peace? Probably not. The U.S. isn't the only country in the world with nuclear weapons. You could have a global nuclear war. That's why we haven't used nuclear weapons in 80 years. No one has. Because you don't know where it goes from there. This is insane, okay? This is insane. It's hard to believe you even need to say this out loud. Oh, but you do. Because all things being equal, that's where we're heading. And how do we know that? Well, there are a million signs, but the most obvious is the dumbest neocons in Trump's orbit are saying it out loud. Now, in some cases, you don't even want to mention their names because these are not decision makers. These people are very much like Jeffrey Epstein. They're not actually the evil mastermind. Jeffrey Epstein's kind of an idiot. He's an employee, obviously. He's a communications hub. He's to get the message out to your people. And it's the same with America's most prominent neocons. They're not making policy. They don't understand anything. They don't have huge audiences. They have no organic power. They're messengers and flack takers. They're the ones who get the abuse for the policies of others. Put some lunatic on TV. Rah! Everyone can hate him. But is he coming up with the plan? No, of course not. He's got a weekend show on Fox. But it's useful to watch what he says. In fact, the President of the United States himself has said this. Watch Mark Levin on Saturday night. You think Trump is dumb? You think he's doing this to juice Mark Levin's ratings? No. It's not possible to increase the ratings of someone nobody wants to watch. The point is to send a message. That's not a conspiracy theory. It's true. The Levin show, written probably not by Levin, which has almost no viewers, has been a place where the future is revealed in its broadest outline. It's a place to test ideas. It's a place to announce obliquely what's going to happen. And his most recent show should get you sitting bolt upright in your chair. And yes, this ran this weekend, Easter weekend, as if the defiling of beauty couldn't be more obvious. Easter week, could you pick another weekend to give the finger to Christianity other than Easter weekend? Apparently not. In fact, of course you couldn't. That's the point. Do it on Easter. Anyone who will accept this will accept any humiliation. In any case, here's what Mark Levin said on his Easter weekend show about what we ought to do next in Iran. Watch.
And the casualty numbers, as horrible as any casualty is, need some context. Let's look at World War II. The Battle of the Bulge, 80,000 to 90,000 plus casualties, deaths and injuries and so forth. Nearly 10% of all the casualties in World War II happened at the Battle of the Bulge near the end of the war. The Battle of Okinawa, 50,000 plus casualties, over 12,000, nearly 13,000 killed on that island, which is what convinced Truman that we would lose a million men if we didn't drop the atomic bombs that we did. So this is a war or a peace mission to stop nuclear weapons that can blow away millions of Americans. Every bit as important as World War II. This is a crucially important military operation, war, call it what you want, peace mission. And we ought to be celebrating the success of our military, unifying around our military and our commander-in-chief, and urging them to complete the task so our country is safe from nuclear weapons by insane, suicidal primitives from the 7th century.
Did you?
Says the Zio. Says the Zio. Zio. I mean, Mark Levin is Mark Levin, Paula White, these two people, and Candace has spoken about these two people, especially Mark Levin. She went heavy on Mark Levin on one of the episodes because he was he said some very rude things about Candace. So Candace really did go hard on him on one episode. But yeah, it's this guy. He always talks so much nonsense, and he is. You know how some people are. It's so obvious that they're bought, and they don't even hide it. Like, and that is a clear version of this individual, Mark Levin. He is somebody that is clearly bought. He is a Zionist. He is somebody that has a master, and that is his little. Again, it's our first day on YouTube, so I'm not going to go too heavy, but you guys know what I'm talking about. His name is Mark Levin. He's got like a podcast as well. I don't know if he goes on Fox News and the podcast, or if he just does Fox News, but I'm pretty sure when Candace spoke about him, he only had his like podcast that he was doing, and Candace actually said he's doing in a basement. Yeah, hardly anybody watches the guy, but yeah, who actually sits there and listens to this guy is beyond me. But yeah, by the way, guys, on TikTok we are live on YouTube. Hey, that was a wait, where's the camera? Live on YouTube, first YouTube stream. Let's go and drop me a like.
Did you catch that? Did you make it through the whole clip? It's not easy.
Subscribe.
It's not easy, but embedded in there, and that's why we prefer a transcript over the actual audio. Embedded in there is something you need to know. It's an argument that is being test-driven, and since no one, to our knowledge, has pushed back against it, may be in full operation now, it's an argument for nuclear weapons against Iran. And here's to restate, in case you couldn't make it through the accent, here's what he said. Nearly 10% of all casualties in the Second World War happened at the Battle of the Bulge, which, of course, at the end of the war. The Battle of Okinawa, 50,000 casualties, nearly 13,000 killed on that island, which is what convinced Harry Truman, the then president in 1945, we'd lose 1 million men if we didn't drop the atomic bombs that we did. Did you hear that? That's Mark Levin's counsel to our sitting president, Donald Trump, right now. You are looking at a choice between the catastrophic loss of your troops in a ground war or the use of nuclear weapons, which, in a sense, if you think about it, just think about it for a second, is actually an act of peace. It's an act of peace. The most humane thing you could do is to end this now with nuclear weapons. That's the case Mark Levin is making to the president, who just last week recommended that all Americans watch Mark Levin's show. Okay.
Yeah, that's a pretty bad recommendation. I wouldn't recommend you watch his show or listen to his podcast. But yeah, it's very concerning what's going on. By the way, for those of you who don't know, there has been a ceasefire and the condition is that the Strait of Hormuz is basically open. If it's not open, then there's no deal. What was that? What was that? What was that? I just heard a sound. What was that? That just scared the living hell out of me. What was that actually? Wait, sorry. I have no idea what that was. Anyway. Oh! Somebody subscribed. Let's go. First subscription on the stream. Let's go. Damn, that scared me. Wait. Let me remove that actually. But thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's go. Subscribe, guys. Subscribe.
This is not like crazy dot connecting here. This is one-to-one. This is really obvious where we're moving. And again, we're moving toward the use of weapons of indiscriminate mass destruction, possibly nuclear weapons, but non-conventional weapons. Not bombs dropped from the air, or missiles launched from launchers, but the use of weapons that have never been used in war ever. And the argument is the same argument that you heard in 1945, or didn't hear, by the way, if you're an American civilian. No one ever cuts you in on this. Thank heaven for Mark Levin saying it out loud so the rest of us can at least follow along and know what we're in for and implicated in. But the argument that it's actually much more humane to kill tens, hundreds of thousands, millions of civilians than it is to like fight it out with the Marine Corps on the rocky shores of mainland Iran. That's the argument. But it's not just the argument that one guy in cable news is making. It is the logic of escalation in this war, because in some sense, Mark Levin is right. We are not going to open the straits with the United States Marine Corps, the 82nd Airborne, or the Tier 1 operators that everyone on cable news seems to know so much about. The Tier 1 operators, Tier 1. Just guys, like some of the best guys actually in America could be killed in this. That's a better way to put it. It's a more real way to put it. They are not going to open the strait. And so unless somebody puts the brakes on right away, we're going to wind up in a place that we can't even imagine. Not just Iran, us and the rest of the world. And so that means, because this is obvious to anyone who's paying any attention, that if you work in the White House or in the U.S. military, now is time to say no, absolutely not. And say directly to the president, no. In case you're thinking about using some weapon of mass destruction against the population of Iran, in whose name we liberated Iran, we killed their religious leader for their benefit. Do you remember that? This was last month. Those people who are in direct contact with the president need to say, no, I'll resign. I'll do whatever I can do legally to stop this, because this is insane. And if given the order, I'm not carrying it out. Figure out the codes on the football yourself, because everything hangs in the balance right now. This is not hysteria. This is 100% real. And yet the people in this country, by and large, are sleepwalking along. No, the future will be pretty much like today, maybe a little different. That's not the lesson of history. Things change fast and forever. There are pivot points where nothing is the same. Sometimes it's better, but mostly it's not. And this is one of those cases where it might not be at all better. Spring is the most refreshing time of year. Nothing compliments it better than black.
Okay. Joe Kent has just made an announcement, literally just now. He's just uploaded a video 24 minutes ago. So, by the way, they're saying, and I'm going to show you guys the video. 2 seconds. Let me close this. Let me just quickly see if this is okay on YouTube. Should be okay. 24 minutes ago. Okay, that's actually decent. Look at this. Look at this. That's funny. Which one was it? Okay, so an hour ago they said moments after the ceasefire is agreed, missiles are being launched at Tel Aviv. Let's have a look at that.
Then the phone started lighting up, indicating that more that way, even when the interceptor client one more time before the.
Okay. Does that mean that they're not in? I don't know. Let's see. This is the video from Joe Kent. I'll play the whole
Great
thing.
news this evening that there's been a 2-week ceasefire agreed upon tentatively between us and the Iranians. It's unconfirmed yet if the Iranians have accepted this deal as well, but I hope that they have. It's absolutely essential that we ensure that the Israelis do not sabotage this 2-week ceasefire or eventually the lasting peace that we're trying to achieve with the Iranians. We're on the cusp of being able to have the Strait of Hormuz reopened to hopefully start to get the world energy supply and commerce back online. The last thing we need is the Israelis doing what they have done in past negotiations and targeting the negotiators or taking a series of strikes that escalates the conflict. In order to ensure that we can restrain the Israelis, we actually have to start removing features of the military support that we give to them. We have to take away enough from them that they simply cannot go on the offense, that they're using all their military capabilities that we provide for them and that they have organically for the defense of their country and not for offensive operations inside of Iran. It's absolutely...
I mean, look, the last person that questioned that, Joe, he's not here today. Well, he was taken out, let's just say. He was taken out. Shout out JFK. JFK was the one that had a backbone. JFK was the one that had a backbone. Man. But yeah, I mean, I get what he's saying, and I agree. If you want to keep them in line, you cut their funding. I've said this so many times. How many times have I said that these are your greatest ally, right? This is your greatest ally. Test it. Let's see how loyal they're going to be. Say to them, look, this year, guys, we've got crazy debt. Our debt's like nearly 40 trillion. Or is it more now? I don't know. So we can't send you the money that we've been sending you guys. So this year, maybe in the next year as well, please, you know, we're not going to send it. Look after yourselves for a couple of years and let's see what happens. Hannah, I don't know if you're still here, but I'm not going to repeat what you just said, but I didn't say it, you said it. I didn't say it, you said it. Yeah. Unfortunately, that will never happen. I genuinely don't see that happen unless we get, I say we, but you know, you guys get a president that actually has a backbone and that, again, like a JFK. And if you guys do get somebody like that, then may God protect them, because we do need people like this to stand against these individuals, in especially the president of the United States to stand against these individuals. That will shut them down very quickly. There will be a very good boy after that. But nobody's ever attempted this because, again, it's not a mystery, guys. Everybody knows this, what happened to JFK. Everybody knows the conversations that JFK was having, the things that he said before he was unalived. So let's see.
Really critical that we take this step and don't just take Israel's word for it, that they agree to this ceasefire simply because they have a very bad track record of adhering to these deals. We also have to keep in mind that Israel has a different strategic outcome than we do. Us working towards any kind of a deal with the Iranian government works against the Israeli strategic objectives of toppling this government completely and totally. We have to recognize that in order to properly address Israel, because Israel could spoil any peace that President Trump is working to achieve. So we have to keep that in mind. It's very good news we took this ceasefire. We have to understand that there is no military solution to the conflict right now. Basically, every action militarily that we've taken has only strengthened the regime, and it's done a lot to destabilize the entire region and to take away the security and safety of the free commerce of all of the energy and oil and natural gas that flows out of the region through the Strait of Hormuz. So we have to keep our main objective in mind. It's getting that lasting peace, and we will be the more powerful nation for providing that lasting peace and stability. We will not gain a more powerful position by continuing to escalate the conflict or continuing to strike Iran. In order for us to achieve this goal that we have of bringing about a lasting peace, keeping the Strait of Hormuz open, we have to restrain the Israelis. We have to keep that in mind. So I continue to pray for peace, pray for President Trump, pray for him to have clarity, pray for successful peace negotiations, pray for our men and women downrange in harm's way. Thank you. God bless.
Okay. We shall see. We shall see. We shall see. Is this guy live? Can't see on YouTube. That's fine. Where's the... Okay. I'm gonna skip to where the interview starts with these guys. Okay. Because they literally are going to react to the video that we just watched.
Play this clip from Tucker Carlson, which has gone viral today.
Who do you think you are? You're tweeting out the F word on Easter morning? No, this is a mockery not just of Islam, it's a mockery of Christianity. To send out a tweet with the F word on Easter morning promising the murder of civilians and then saying praise be to Allah? without explaining any of it. You are mocking me and every other Christian because we're Christians. We can't support that. That is evil. That is an intentional desecration of beauty and truth, which is the definition of evil.
Okay, well, let's go to Katie McFarland, former US Deputy National Security Advisor. What do you feel about this? I mean, as an American, do you feel comfortable about the President of the United States posting this kind of rhetoric?
You know something? You're all taking the bait. Donald Trump is in the final hours of a negotiation that could prevent Iran from getting nuclear weapons. Iran having nuclear weapons would be like Adolf Hitler having nuclear weapons in World War II. You bet he's tough. You bet he's not playing by the Marquis of Queensberry's rules. He is in the middle of a negotiation, and he is threatening. He's threatening the IRGC. He's threatening the Iranian regime, or what's left of it, with you come to me, you make a deal with me, and here's the deal: no nuclear weapons.
But he's not, though, is he? He's not. He's threatening the entire Iranian population. That is what he meant by a whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. He's not just threatening the regime or the IRGC. He is being very specific that this will involve the removal of the entire civilization in Iran. That is genocide. That is a war crime.
You know, I guess I would think that what President Trump is doing now, don't always believe what he says, because he says
when he's threatening
different
genocide?
Things. I think he's threatening genocide. I think he's threatening to remove the Iranian regime.
He doesn't say that.
Well, I think that that's what he's talking about. He's removing the Iranian regime.
Why doesn't he say that?
If you look at the press conference that he gave yesterday, what did he say? We are now negotiating with new Iranians. We are now negotiating with the new Iranians.
Who he's now threatening to kill, along with every other Iranian tonight at 1 o'clock in the morning, English time, 8 o'clock Eastern time. I mean, he couldn't be less ambiguous if he tried. It couldn't be more crystal clear.
I understand you don't like the words. But let me just ask you, in 24 hours...
How could anybody like the words? I mean, all
regime?
due respect, Katie McFarland, explain to me who would like these words and why you would like them. Do you like them?
No, of course I don't like them. But the point is not whether I like them or not. It's whether the Iranian regime believes them. Do they believe it's a legitimate and credible
threat? No, they don't.
Threat
They've already come out and said
jobs?
they're now stopping all negotiation with the Americans over these posts. They want nothing to do with them. They're not negotiating. And in fact, they're coming out now saying we're more than happy to give our lives for our country and our cause, which, of course, many people understand that is what the Iranian regime ideology is all about, right? So why would this kind of threat ever work? And also, what happens if we get to 8 p.m. tonight Eastern and Trump doesn't follow through with his threat? Then he's the boy. Then he's the boy that cried wolf. Then he's the emperor with no clothes. So I don't see how this works on any level. Either he commits a genocide and will be damned for eternity and probably start World War III, or he doesn't do it. The Iranians ignore his threats, and Trump is made to look impotent as a leader. How does this work as a victory for him? I don't get it.
I think you've just made your point. That Iran, you've talked about the leadership of Iran. You talked about the martyrdom they want. How do you feel if Iran has nuclear weapons? You know, there's a cost to doing nothing. There's a cost to
I don't
being
want them to
polite.
have it, but my understanding of that issue.
I mean, this is ridiculous, no? I think a lot of people skip the fact that, again, this is not me picking a side. I'm just informing you guys. They literally have a fatwa, which is basically like an Islamic sort of contract to say that they are not going to do nuclear weapons. And they still are talking about how they're trying to do these weapons, and there's massive weapons of mass destruction, all this and that. And then they're going to say, taqiyya. Taqiyya. How many of you have heard this taqiyya? Let me explain to you guys very simply what this taqiyya is. You know how they always say the Muslims, they can lie to you guys, right? To deceive you guys. Let me tell you what taqiyya is. I'll give you a very clean example, a clear example, sorry. Taqiyya, I'll give you an example. The Assad regime, right? Assad in Syria, Bashar Assad. His men were going into villages and getting people And what they were doing was they were forcing people to say that Assad is God. They were forcing people to say this. Whoever opposed the regime by that disgusting giraffe, Bashar Assad from Syria, his men were getting certain people and they were telling them, say the words that Assad is your Lord. Some people didn't say it and some people said it. Now that is taqiyya. What does it mean? You're saying something with your tongue, but deep inside you know that it's not true. These people were forced to say this, but deep down inside, of course, they don't believe this. This is taqiyya, the deception in this way. Not the deception of, there's an ordinary person in front of me. Hi, how you doing? You okay? And then the second I turn my face, I'm like, that disgusting individual, that disgusting fool. I'm out to get you all. You know how they think that we're some sort of villain? That is literally what it is. The deception towards people that are forcing you, like these scumbags that have done this to so many people. So many people they have done this to. The videos are still out there. The videos will never be erased of these people. Forcing people to say these statements that they know is blasphemy. They know it's very hard on the people that they are trying to force them to say this, but they still did it because they got a kick out of this. They got a kick out of this. The scumbags that were doing this, they also don't believe that he is God. But they're making these people say this because, again, they know it's very hard on them. And if they didn't say it, the videos are out there. Go and look. If they didn't say it, the videos are out there. How sad.
Is that we were told last summer, after the 12-day war, that all threat of a nuclear weapon being developed by Iran had been taken out. Now, within 10 months, we're told we now have to threaten World War III to stop them getting a nuclear weapon that we were told only 10 months ago we had stopped them getting. All the enriched uranium is buried deep below the ground. Most military experts I've heard talk about this say there's no way to get it without committing ground troops, which could lead to catastrophic losses on the American side. So again, I ask, how does any of this stop Iran anyway from developing nuclear weapons? If we're not...
Exactly. Sweet Potato on YouTube says to save their life. Exactly. This is as simple as it is. To save their life, they lie with their tongue, but deep inside they know what is true. Deep inside it's different. And there's no sin upon these individuals that do this. Again, if, for example, I'm about to die and the only thing I can find is alcohol, or, for example, it's a pig, I can eat it. But every day I can't. But if I'm going to die, of course, because looking after your body is... looking after your body is very important because it's a gift from God. So Arafat was a god. What is that? No, it's not. I don't know what you're talking about.
Not going to get the enriched uranium without blowing up the entire population.
There's only
Explain
one
to me
God.
how we stop them
Who
developing a
is that?
nuke.
I don't know who that is.
Well, what you just said is that you're willing to live with a nuclear Iran. I am not willing to live with a nuclear Iran.
I didn't
For
say
the
that.
very reason that you've just said. Well, you said we can't find the enriched uranium. How do you know we can't find the enriched uranium? You know, one of the problems that President Trump saw is that when we thought we'd obliterated everything, and what did the Iranians do the very next day? They started rebuilding. I taught nuclear weapons at MIT in the 1980s. What do you need for a nuclear weapon? You need three things. You need highly enriched uranium, which we know they've got. We're not sure where it all is. We don't know if they've already destroyed it all. You need a plan to take that highly enriched uranium and turn it into a bomb. And then you need a missile to deliver that nuclear weapon. What was Iran? So they've got the missiles. We've just seen that they've demonstrated they have the reach to reach Europe from Iran. We know they've got highly enriched uranium, and we're pretty sure they've got the blueprint that's going to pull it all together. So they're close to a nuclear weapon. If the United States waits,
they're close. Like, is she cousins with BB Dumbo? Is she? Is she cousins with Dumbo? He's been saying for 30 years as well. They're really close. 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away. 30 years. Again, this is not me picking any side, guys. This is literally, I mean, to understand their mindset is absolutely wild. For them to actually think this way, the Iran uranium lady.
until after they have a nuclear weapon, can you imagine the blackmail that Iran would do, not just to the region, but to the world?
Okay, let me bring in Cenk Uygur. I mean, Cenk, I was pretty horrified when I saw the post today. I was pretty horrified when I saw the post on Easter Sunday, to be honest with you. I just thought it was so inappropriate. And, you know, I always have an allowance for Trump to do a bit of trash talking. I don't like it when he trash talks about people who've just died. I think that's inappropriate and wrong. I wish he wouldn't do it. This is a whole different level of trash talking. This is basically threatening public brazen genocide. That's what he's doing. There is no defense for this, but I just find it astonishing that there are any people prepared to defend it.
Yeah.
Deborah says on TikTok, we can't wait for them to build. They would unalive us all in a heartbeat. Wait 2 seconds, I just got a notification on TikTok. 2 seconds. Do you guys saw that on YouTube? See, these people are taking the. I'm telling you guys. You guys literally just saw that. Anyway. Deborah. That's what they want you to believe, my dear. That's what they want you to believe. And nobody's out to get you, trust me. Nobody's out to get you. This is what they want you to believe. They want to make more money from all of this. And that's literally it. That's literally it. They're just trying to stir as much hatred and violence so that they can sit down, make their money, and then we're just fighting each other. So, yeah.
So I think what Katie McFarland was just saying is absurd. And listen to what she said. She said, what if the Iranians get a nuke? First of all, preposterous. They don't have any ability to deliver that enriched uranium. She knows it. This is all about regime change. It's for Israel. We all know that. In fact, Israel has nukes, and they're a super dangerous country. Ben Gvir on TV just yesterday was joking around about nuking Iran and how he would like to do that. So, and she says, oh my God, can you imagine if the Iranians had nukes, they might want to wipe out our entire civilization. That's what Trump just said.
Guys, I just want to say one thing. I've appealed for this notification on TikTok. Look, if you guys can all go onto YouTube, you can see the display, guys. What we're watching, you can see, you know, I mean, it's up to you, of course, but if you want to go onto YouTube, EAB World, I'm literally live now. So go over there, drop me a subscribe, give me a like. Yeah, because again, you guys are seeing what they're still messing things up for me for some reason. Anyway, let's continue.
Trump is, like you said earlier, Piers, he's talking like a terrorist. So this is the Israelification of our policy. They're pro-genocide. We're not pro-genocide. We're the good guys. And so this is unbearable. This is, look, I reach out to all voters, including Trump voters, all the time. I'm the last person to rub it in and go, ha, you made a mistake. I love it when people come to the right side. I'm the guy who said Marjorie Taylor Greene, Massey, and Tucker Carlson would do the right thing on war and Iran, and I'm relieved to see that they did, and I really appreciate it. But guys, this is why I was forced to vote for 3 corporate Democrats I can't stand, because the alternative was this madman, Donald Trump. He's always been a madman. He's always been a spoiled child. His father gave him $400 million and he blew it. And then his second daddy, Jeff Zucker, gave him $400 million through The Apprentice and he blew that. So when he gets into this quagmire, he just said yesterday, oh, he didn't think that they were going to close the Strait of Hormuz. We all knew they were going to close the Strait of Hormuz. How could you not know that? So he gets frustrated. He got talked into it by Israel. So now he can't find a way out. And so he starts screaming into the abyss like a spoiled child. Give me what I want or I'll destroy you. And I'll take my ball and go home, except I'll nuke you first. This is disgusting talk. And look, I think there is a third alternative to what you just said. There's a possibility, Piers, that he's threatening to blow up the power plants and the bridges and to nuke them or do whatever he's madman talk that he's doing. And then he's instead going to put in ground troops and go, ha ha, I'm so clever. You were expecting the bombing, but I put in ground troops instead. But we didn't want ground troops. None of these choices are good. We shouldn't be in this war in the first place. There's nothing but disastrous choices for us. And of course, meanwhile, Israel is laughing and laughing because, number one, they want a mess and chaos in Iran so that it debilitates them and they can't fund Hamas and Hezbollah. And number two, they have the Leviathan pipeline now. It is a giant gas field. So if we bomb Iran's gas fields and they bomb the Gulf gas fields, the number one winner economically is Israel. So they can't wait for this kind of death and destruction. He should have, he fired Kristi Noem and Pam Bondi. He should have fired all the Israel First advisors that are surrounding him, which is literally everyone at the White House.
Okay.
Clean house, get Americans in there, not people serving a different country, and especially a genocidal country like Israel. That's why you get the kind of talk that you're seeing today.
Okay, but the only bigger...
And by the way, one more thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's whether he does it or not, the mere fact of saying that America would destroy an entire civilization and commit genocide or a Holocaust like this puts a moral stain on us. We cannot bear that moral stain. We're supposed to be the good guys. This kind of language, even if he doesn't follow through on it, is a terrible mark on America, and we shouldn't tolerate it.
Okay. I'm a bit concerned about you, Cheng. You're losing your voice. I'm not sure the American people could suffer that blow at this particular time.
Don't worry, Katie says one more thing. I'll show you what voice I have
I'm just
left.
worried if you do one of your regular blow-ups, this could be it. We could have the silencing of Cenk Uygur in real time. Let me come to Ryan, Max Afterburner. Max, what do you feel about this? I mean, you've served in combat. You're a U.S. Air Force combat pilot. I presume you would share Rob's view and my view that the rescue mission was unbelievable, incredible heroism, both by the pilot and by the teams that went to get him. It was remarkable. But rather than talking about that, we're all talking about this threat from Donald Trump. What do you feel about that?
Yeah, good to see you, Pierce. Good to see everybody else as well. So I think Rob would agree with this. There's never a good time in the middle of the night to come face to face with a Navy SEAL unless you're the weapons systems officer getting rescued. So overall, just a great operation. I'm so proud of all the rescue forces and the Wizzo himself. And again, what a great day for America, getting that aviator back safe. But the thing I want to talk about that I want to highlight and add some context to everybody talking about a whole civilization will die tonight. If we just go to the bottom of that truth post, it says 47 years of extortion, corruption, and death will finally end. God bless the great people of Iran. So as you can see right there, he's not saying he's going to have a genocide on the people of Iran. What he's saying is the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps that took over 47 years ago is who he's focused on eradicating. And remember, he's dealing with terrorists. This is a terrorist regime. So for 10 years, I studied the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps in back vaults for the U.S. Air Force. And we always knew this is what they were going to throw at the end game of this war, which are terrorist proxy tactics. So that's going to be the first brief that President Trump got from General Raising Kane is, hey, look, at the end of this, when their military is decimated, their Navy is decimated, they're going to rely on proxy tactics to cause pain on the global economy in the Straits of Hormuz. And so we're seeing that play out. Now, could the president have used some different choice words instead of a whole civilization? Maybe that can be taken out of context. So yeah, he could have changed that.
I mean, seriously,
Yeah,
Max, look, I appreciate you translating the president's words into
Yeah, well, it doesn't even need to be
into a far
translated,
more
Pierce.
benign wording.
Well,
but the reality is, had he started by saying, I want to get rid of this IRGC regime,
Yeah.
okay, that's one thing. all right? But he didn't. He used the words, a whole civilization will die tonight.
Right, that could be taken out of context.
You might have wanted him to say what you've just articulated, and if he'd said that, there wouldn't be the outrage there is, but he didn't say that.
Well, he did at the end. He brings it home and
he says at
he
the end
cleans it up.
something that is completely contradictory to what he said at the start, which is classic Trump in this war. You know, one of the things, as you know, sure, I mean, I would say to you, Max, I would say to you, but should I call you Max or Ryan, by the way?
Ryan's fine.
Ryan, you know, look, when you were serving, right, it's to have a commander-in-chief sending such mixed messages all the time, in real time, publicly, right? I mean, this is not good for anyone serving in the United States.
And I can understand why it's
military.
confusing. But the art of war, so that's one of the tactics that has been used in military operations for thousands of years. The art of war is you keep them guessing. You don't want to tell the Iranian regime when this war is going to end. You don't want to tell them what's coming next. You don't want to tell them what you will or won't strike. So deception is a huge part of warfare, and that's something that's hard for the civilian population to understand. But at the end of the day, you're dealing with a terrorist regime. So you have to sometimes fight fire with fire.
Okay. Before I come back to Glenn, I wanted to just ask Rob O'Neill something that Tucker Carlson also said. He publicly urged United States military and Pentagon officials to actively defy Trump and refuse orders if he attempts to launch nuclear weapons against Iran.
If you work in the White House or in the U.S. military, now is time to say no, absolutely not, and say it directly to the president, no. In case you're thinking about using some weapon of mass destruction against the population of Iran, in whose name we liberated Iran, we killed their religious leader for their benefit. Do you remember that? This was last month. Those people who are in direct contact with the president need to say no.
What do you feel about that, Rob? I mean, the idea that people serving at high level in the military or at the Pentagon would defy an instruction from the commander-in-chief to launch a nuclear weapon.
Well, I mean, that's not going to happen. Those are, they're going to have to be, they'll need to be lawful orders. And the whole thing with deciding what order is lawful is completely against the uniform code of military justice. Never happened. Plus, if you notice, he didn't say nuclear weapons. We do have weapons more powerful than nuclear weapons. People are going to get wrapped up in that 80s style of Russia versus the United States. But we have stuff there. And just other things you got to consider. Yes, the Truth Social is social media, and he's using it sort of as a bargaining chip. You got to figure, look at the amount of time we had tier 1 operators on the ground. Who's to say we didn't get the uranium already? I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we do. It's not just shoot from the hip. We have very talented people doing a lot of talented stuff. Yes, he's doing stuff with the negotiations. I mean, I don't think when you're banking on the entire population to rise up to get rid of the Islamists is the way to say you're going to wipe out an entire civilization. But you know, different words. Yes, he always goes a little bit further, saying, okay, we're going to take Greenland. We're going to take Greenland. It's okay. Maybe we'll have a few bases in Greenland. He's going to take the long shot, but then back off. I just saying you're going to wipe out a civilization. Bad choice of words, I think.
But I was really struck. I was really struck. For example, you know, the biggest mission in modern American history post Second World War is the mission that you were on to kill Osama bin Laden. In terms of the importance, I think, to Americans and to the country and to the people to finally see him get justice for what he did on 9/11. You know, it was an incredible...
This is the guy. You know, I mentioned him the other day. This is the guy that unalived Laden. Let's not say his name. And he was the same guy that said he was asked a question with regards to Tyler Robinson dismantling the rifle and jumping down from the roof, and he said it will take me 6 to 7 minutes to dismantle that specific rifle. Yeah, it's not easy. Yeah. So again, I thought I'd mention that because that's the guy. I think I literally talked about it like 4 or 5 days ago.
Incredible mission. But what was the theme of that mission? Utter secrecy. Absolutely everybody involved. Tiny number of people.
Don't forget to
the White House
subscribe
knew
and
about
like
it.
the live,
Very
guys.
small number of people in
Set
the military
your bell
knew about it,
notifications
even though
on. Thank you.
all you top-level guys were all being brought together. Highly unusual for that to happen. But there was a wall of secrecy because people understood that careless words cost lives, the famous World War II thing. Here with Trump, we have the complete opposite. He just spews out all this stuff like a machine gun, a verbal machine gun, all day long. And I don't understand how any of that helps. I don't think it's duping the enemy. I don't think the Iranians take any of it that seriously. I just don't understand why he feels the need to do this.
Well, I mean, I don't think he's giving away any secrets. Everything is extremely close held. It's hard for me to find out any information about who's involved in anything, and that's talking with sources in Washington D.C. in Congress. They're keeping it very compartmentalized. And the Bin Laden raid's one thing. We can't tell anybody because if we even tell the host nation, because Pakistan was involved with that, they're going to run him to safety. Stuff like this, we knew they were shot down. Now we didn't know there were 2 pilots there until someone in the Pentagon leaked it. Someone close by. So they're not giving away stuff they're doing right now. I mean, even with Carg Island. Who's to say if we're going to take it completely? Which I mean, who knows now? We could. The United States could. We could take all the oil and keep it. So I don't think he's giving away secrets. I mean, appropriately having fun with it, inappropriately having fun with it, I guess is what I'd say.
Glenn Greenwald, I mean, it seems to me that if you look at what Putin has done in Ukraine, if you look at what China is believed to want to do in Taiwan, for example, the moral authority that Cenk Uygur talked about is incredibly important here. If America cedes any moral high ground whatsoever by openly threatening genocide as Trump has done today, whether he meant it or not, the fact he's gone on record as saying it, how can America, when another nation commits an act which they view as morally reprehensible, how can they play the moral card with it going forward?
Well, we can, and it wasn't just before this, just today. It was long before this. There have been American hawks who have gone to Europe and warned people in Europe that the reason China is rising so greatly and in displacing Americans in all the regions where we used to be dominant, like Africa and Latin America, is because the world perceives that the Americans and the United States government is a bully and just uses military force and war and weapons anytime it feels like, whereas China was able to rise to a world power even though they haven't fought a war in 48 years. The last war they fought was 1979. That was a 1-month border dispute with Vietnam, and yet we're fighting wars constantly, and now with the American president threatening civilizational annihilation. And I don't think we need to sit here and dissect the Truth Social post as though it's like some hieroglyphic from ancient civilization and we have to decipher what it really means. Trump has repeatedly made statements like this. As you said, on Easter, he vowed to destroy every power plant in Iran and every bridge in Iran. That wouldn't just affect the regime, that would destroy the lives of millions of people who are in Iran, people that were supposedly there to represent. And I just want to add one last point, which is it's so bizarre to have to sit here and listen to people like Katie McFarland say, oh, we have to go to war to stop them from getting a nuclear weapon, when these were the same exact people who said the same exact thing about Saddam Hussein, that we had to go to war because Saddam Hussein was going to get a nuclear weapon and pass it to Al-Qaeda and they were going to detonate it, all of which turned out to be lies. And they just come back like none of it ever happened. And even this rescue mission, I'm glad the pilot was rescued, but I do think we have to be a little bit aware as well that there's a lot of propaganda disseminated in war. We were told at the very start of the war, you may remember this, that there was this soldier named Jessica Lynch who heroically fought off Iraqi fighters and gunned a bunch of them down and was finally taken and tortured in a hospital, and U.S. forces rescued her in a daring raid, none of which turned out to be true. The media told this story over and over. So a lot of this is propaganda. A lot of this are things that we've seen before, and we do have a major problem even before Trump started with these insane threats, not just in this Truth Social post. And we didn't just threaten it, we have blown up their bridges, which obviously affects the population. We've blown up their refineries, that poisons their air and water. These are things we're actually doing. And the U.S. was already in a hole morally and geostrategically, which is why China is rising, because countries would rather deal with them. And this makes it infinitely worse, even if Trump doesn't follow through on these monstrous threats.
Yeah, I mean, Casey McFarland, I remember the Donald Trump campaigning to be elected in 2024, who couldn't have been clearer. He was going to stop taking America into these Middle Eastern wars. He thought they were ruinous for the economy. They were ruinous on life. He just didn't understand them. He kept telling us how he thought Iraq had been a terrible mistake, and he wanted to stop all this. This was America First, meant looking after American interests in America. And my God, there are lots of stuff that he could be doing to improve the lives of Americans right now. And he made a good start. He shut the southern border. I thought that was an excellent thing to do after what happened under Biden for 4 years. But ever since now, it seems like he's been on a mission to contradict his own campaigning. And what could be a bigger contradiction of I'm not going to drag America into these pointless Middle Eastern wars than dragging America into the biggest and most potentially dangerous and ruinous Middle Eastern war imaginable. And now he's talking about wiping out whole civilizations. How does that sit with Donald Trump, the campaigner? Vote for me and I won't do this.
You know, I guess I would take great issue with what Glenn has just said about people like Donald Trump not supporting the Iraq War. I ran for the U.S. Senate in 2006 because I didn't think the Bush administration was doing the right thing with the Iraq War. President Trump is not against war. He's not afraid of war. He's not afraid of using military force. What he doesn't want is a forever war that goes on for decades that the United States can't win, that costs us in blood and treasure. And if you listen to what he said in the last 48 hours even, he said, we're not going to make Bush's mistakes. We are not going to go into Iran. We're not going to fire all the military. We're not going to get rid of everybody in the government. We don't want to occupy it. We don't want to run the place. We want a Venezuela model where we can go and maybe decapitate the senior leadership and then get whoever is left in the leadership to do a deal with us. We'll develop their oil. They'll get rid of their nuclear weapons. They'll open the Strait of Hormuz. So I think you're all basically taking the bait. Donald Trump negotiates from strength. So what he does is he goes in and the first position out of his mouth is the extreme position. And then he negotiates backwards, and then at the end of the day, he gets the result he wants.
Well, let me put a different argument to you, which is that I think, and I've known him a long time, Donald Trump. I like him personally. We've been friends for 2 decades. But knowing him as well as I do, and you know him well too, I think he has massively miscalculated with this war in Iran, which no one wants to call a war, because if it was called a war, you'd have to go through Congress. And no American president likes to do that with war. But they should, actually, for another point. But, you know, looking at Donald Trump's behavioral pattern in the last few weeks, I think that he thought this would be like Venezuela. They would go in. The Israelis said to them, we've got the Ayatollah, we've got all these top people in the same room, we can take them all out. And he thought, decapitate them, the people would rise up, that's what Netanyahu told him, and it would all be over very quickly. And the complete opposite has happened. And where the real miscalculation came was in Iran's ability to withstand enormous military superiority against them, but to then exercise a sort of parallel universe war, an asymmetric war of an economic kind with the Straits of Hormuz, effectively shutting that down, causing enormous damage to the global economy, which will be felt now for many months, whatever happens, and then attacking the Gulf states in a way that has, you know, paralyzed their business model. So attacking oil refineries in the Gulf states, its neighbors, attacking tourist centers and so on. This has been a disaster for them. And so you add it all up, and I think, where's the win here? The regime is still in place. They've got, you know, they've got way more IRGC people that can come through the ranks and fill the gaps. So that hasn't changed. The people are not uprising for a number of reasons. Probably fear of bombs.
The Strait of Hormuz is closed. The Strait of Hormuz is closed.
And the Strait of Hormuz, well, exactly. As Glenn just said, the Straits of Hormuz remain pretty well closed to anyone that the Iranians don't want to leave them open to. I just am struggling to conclude anything other than Trump has miscalculated, probably because he's been misled by the Israelis that this would be indeed like it was in the 12-day war last summer and like it was in Venezuela, a quick, sharp shock and get out. And now I don't think he knows how to get out. And the Iranians know they can hold the Straits of Hormuz as this bargaining tool, which is almost impossible to take away from them.
So what you're saying is that because Iran is using this bargaining tool, which is using this blackmail tool, the economic tool, that they would somehow, that we're supposed to let them do that and then potentially have nuclear weapons and let them blackmail the world again?
No, I don't believe there was. I don't believe there was an impending threat of nuclear weapons in Iran. I think that was a totally misleading reading of their situation and flies completely in the face of what we were told happened after the 12-day war. So I think that this was a genuine desire by the Israelis to have a regime change in Iran, and they persuaded Donald Trump to join in. That's why Antony Blinken said they tried to get Biden to do it. They tried to get Obama to do it. They both said no, and Israel did not attack. This time they got third time lucky. As Marco Rubio said, the Americans got involved because they were told another country was going in and they knew that there would be retaliation, so we better get in first. It came out of the Secretary of State's mouth. So the beauty of this whole war, if there can be such a thing, is the clarity coming out of people's mouths. They will be judged accordingly. Let me bring Cenk back in here. you know, I keep going back to that Rubio moment because to me, that is at the core of this war. I think Trump got bamboozled into doing this by Netanyahu, who made 8 visits to America in the build-up to this. And we saw J.D. Vance say similar things only last week.
Yeah. So there's 3 different factors with Trump and the Israelis. Number one, the Adelson family alone has given Trump over $300 million in campaign contributions. So anyone saying that Trump is not affected by $300 million lives on a different planet. So they literally bribed him. That's legally possible in America. Miriam Adelson is an Israeli. She's the one who flew out Jonathan Pollard in a private jet to congratulate him back to Israel, gave him a hero's welcome. So these people are not for our country. They're the opposite, right? On top of that, let's be honest, there might be blackmail. But let's go past that. And they did. Netanyahu came and talked to him 8 different times and whispered sweet nothings into his ear. And he said, oh, you're going to be a hero. You're going to conquer the whole world, Donald. And you know what? We're going to do it anyway. You'll be a spectator to history. That's a direct quote that they used. So you better not be weak. And the thing is, guys, you know, Piers, the one thing I can't agree with you on is Trump is a baboon. I mean, he's so stupid. It's like talking to a child. I mean, if you told me, oh, you're going to be a spectator to history, you better attack Iran before we do, I'd be like, shut up and get out of the American White House. And but Trump's like, oh, okay, Daddy, am I going to be big and powerful? So I can't stand the guy, and I can't stand talking as if he's a rational person.
Look, honestly, when you call Trump a baboon, you're kind of falling into his rhetorical trap of you know, getting in the gutter with him. And I don't think
What is this, Piers? Well, I mean, can you agree that he's a stupid man-child? Can you at least agree on that?
No, I don't think he's a stupid man.
I mean, what is this screaming into the abyss? I'm going to kill them all. I'm the new Hitler. He's basically saying he's the new Hitler. I mean, what is that? I mean, he's either a monster or a monster and a man-child.
I find these posts reprehensible. But Donald Trump is not a stupid man. I can assure you of that. He's won the White House twice.
Are you crazy?
Well,
he's the managed to win the White House. Ever had in office.
Well, he's won the White House twice. He's not stupid.
Yeah, that's why I can't stand the corporate Democrats.
He's not stupid.
I mean, to be fair, you're right. You're right. I mean, the only people dumber than Donald Trump are the Democratic leadership that keep losing to him.
Okay.
Oh, let's run as elitists. Let's run as pro-corporate and let's embrace Dick Cheney.
All right.
Jesus.
But I don't think he's stupid. But I do think his foreign policy generally actually has been one of his stronger points until this. This makes no sense to me. No, it hasn't made sense from day one.
He has no strong points. His foreign policy has been a disaster. So let's get back to the main issue here. So he said he was against the wars. You're absolutely right about that, especially against Middle Eastern wars. And he said he was worried that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden were going to take us into World War III, okay? And now what do we have? Ben-Gvir threatening nukes. And by the way, if you haven't heard, China and Pakistan have said that if Israel nukes Iran, they will nuke Israel. So here we are on the precipice of a nuclear holocaust because this baboon is in office and he's like, oh, Bibi, how can I make you happy? Can you please give me more money? Am I going to be a hero, Bibi? I can't stand this guy. And doing the exact opposite of what he promised.
Okay.
The exact opposite. And one more thing a point that Glenn made that is really important. So Russia goes and destroys their army and their treasure in Ukraine. Now we're going to destroy our treasure. We spent $300 million on the rescue alone. It was a brilliant operation. But $300 million. We're spending $1 to $2 billion a day. So both Russia and the U.S. are destroying themselves in these totally needless wars, and China is laughing their ass off. How did they get this lucky that we're wasting our treasure and our military on wars for other countries? It's insanity. Let's go compete with China and India economically. Stop this military madness. Get someone who's an American and who's a decent person back in charge of America.
Okay. Let me bring Ryan back in here. I found a quote from retired Lieutenant Colonel Rachel Van Lindingham, who said on PBS, threatening to bomb every bridge and power plant in Iran in itself is a war crime, not just reckless talk, a crime. Why? Because terrorizing a civilian population through rhetoric violates the law of war, and the law of war is US law. So that seems pretty clear there, that actually this kind of rhetoric can have very serious real-world consequences for Donald Trump.
Yeah, so a lot of this is a bargaining position. It's a lot of leverage that Trump is getting. And when it comes to actually targeting these structures, like a flew combat in Afghanistan, and there's a rule of engagement that you go through for every release, and you do everything you can to mitigate damage to civilians in the area. But if you look at some of these plants that have been struck so far, like PARS Energy Plant, Sharif University, PARS is basically powering the ballistic missile program for the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. So that makes it a legitimate target. Sharif University is a nerve center, a data center, where the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has built and designed their missiles and their drones. And what I hear on the panel too is a lot of people being triggered by Trump. And I think that's what happens when someone with a backbone comes in and says, no, you know what, we're going to stand up to evil. And if you don't stand up to that evil, you're kind of like
but
that
what if
person.
you sound, what if, as Tucker Carlson said, what if in standing up to evil, you start to sound evil yourself?
Sound evil yourself. We have 31 people on YouTube. Guys, we are live on YouTube, our first stream on YouTube. Come to YouTube, subscribe, set your alarm notifications on, like the live. Let's go, guys. Let's go. Thank you so much. Sinead, how are you doing? Amira, yeah, we've got 31 people here.
I mean, that
well,
is
maybe you do have to fight
not
fire
bad
with
for the
fire. I mean, you're
first
going
yeah,
up
but that's
against
the
a
problem,
terrorist
isn't it?
regime.
I've got a real problem with that. You know, I've always, I've said this many times. I don't want to bore people, but I come from a lot of military in my family, right? And they're horrified about this because there's supposed to be a moral code. I'm sure you abided by it when you served.
Absolutely.
I know for a fact Rob did, right? He's been on some of the biggest missions in American modern military history, and there's a strict moral code that abides along the way with these guys, right? It's what makes the American military one of the finest in history. It's what makes the British military fine. The moment you lose that, the moment you abandon all pretense at morality or being a superior moral force, and you just decide to fight evil with evil, and you fight people threatening to annihilate you by annihilating the entire country, you lose me.
I think he's threatening to annihilate the IRGC and the regime. I don't think he's threatening to annihilate the entire country. I think that's pretty clear from what we can see.
You're being very forgiving, but maybe you should be his digital producer, because that's not what he posted.
Well, I'll be the person that reads the second part of his Truth Social post. I mean, it's pretty clear right there that he's just talking about the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. 47 years ago, the Islamic Revolution happened and brought in a terrorist regime run by radical Islamic clerics who want a nuclear weapon. So my question to the panel is, yeah, it'd be nice if we don't have to do anything.
That's actually not
I would
true.
prefer that we're not in war. It would be great, Sink, if we could not have to deal with this situation and we could just all go on with our lives, run our businesses, make money. That'd be great. But to me, you're coming across as someone who's putting a blindfold on and walking towards a cliff, and you're perfectly fine with that threat. And someone's like, hey, there's a cliff up there.
Yeah,
and you're like,
that's
yeah,
what you
but
sound like to me.
it's nice out today, so we're just going to keep walking towards the cliff. And that cliff is the biggest state sponsor of terrorism in the world.
What happens,
so not
Ryan?
only nuclear
Ryan,
weapons, just
what
take
happens?
nuclear weapons off the table.
Okay, but Ryan,
Totally
what happens, Ryan? Look, there are many people that share your view that the Iranians had to be dealt with and that Trump's a trash talker and he's
The IRGC
and he's
had to be dealt
negotiating
with,
and so on.
not the
But let me
Iranians.
ask you, Ryan, a specific question. What happens if the Iranians call it?
21%.
What happens if the Iranians call his bluff? If 8 p.m. comes and goes tonight, Trump does not wipe out the whole country and is then looking, as I said earlier, like the emperor with no clothes. The guy that threatened to do all this stuff, and then they called his bluff and he didn't do it. That's the problem. You can exaggerate when you're selling a building in New York City. You can pile them high, right? You can exaggerate a lot of things when you're president, actually. You can trash talk your rivals, or you can trash talk Hollywood people when they die, whatever. That has no real world level of consequence, other than people might find it disagreeable. But when you do this and you don't act on it, he is relying on the Iranian regime caving. I don't think that ideologically they will do that, because they are basically nihilists. They've already said publicly in the last few hours, we don't care if we die. We'll die if we have to. And I'm sure they mean it.
Of course.
So what happens if his bluff gets called?
Well, I think it's a fair point. I mean, some of the choice words, the words probably could have been stated differently. I think you bring up a fair point there. However, in warfare, there's also deception. So if you're deceiving the enemy, you're doing warfare correct. And so if 8 p.m. comes tonight and the bombs don't drop on specific facilities, then it'll drop somewhere else, and Trump will pivot somewhere else and use our military in a moral way to start to systematically destroy the IRGC's ability to fund themselves. And we saw Carge Island get hit this morning, late last night, and so they took out military infrastructure there while not targeting the oil infrastructure. So there's a strategic 4D chess plan. So again, pivoting and adapting can happen even when this claim has been made by the president.
Well, the thing is, we're going to find out. I mean, somebody said to me last night, I first got to know Trump when I appeared on his Celebrity Apprentice show. And someone said to me last night...
Can I just add one thing, Pierce?
Yeah.
So I think there's a narrative out there that everybody's blaming Israel for everything, and it comes across as a mainstream corporate news talking point to me. But if you look back at the 80s, President Trump has an interview where he says Iran needs to be bombed. They need to be taken out. They're a dangerous regime.
There's no question. There's no question he has said that before, but there's also no question because Marco Rubio spelled it out for us on camera that the incentive for America to get involved this time was because the Israelis said we're going to attack.
I mean, obviously, Israel has an incentive for us to do this. That's obvious. That's clear. They benefit from this. However, America benefits a lot as well.
But the problem, you know, my problem.
Sponsor of terror.
No, we don't.
The point I was going to make. The point I was going to make was, having appeared on The Apprentice, someone said to me last night, "This is like watching The Apprentice." This is my problem with the way Trump is conducting this war. War is not a game. It's not a reality show. And when people are waking up for the new installment from Donald Trump about the Iran war, and almost when you add all the memes that the White House has been putting out, and the Hollywood-style video stuff and so on, none of it sits easily with me because there is nothing worse in the world than war. But as you know,
Pierce, I agree.
And as Rob knows better than anybody, wars are about as real as life and death get, right? And the idea that the whole thing is treated like a kind of reality show sits really
Even made
badly
it prime
with
time,
me.
8 o'clock p.m. Eastern prime
that's
time
my
is
point.
when he set the time for it.
Sweet potato, you might need to go back in and go out and come back in because it seems fine for me. I just refreshed it as well because I've got it on my desktop. It's fine. I don't know why it's doing that for you.
That's my point. It's like it's all what you would do if you're promoting a reality TV show. Because that's Trump's background, it sits even more uneasily, and I wish he wouldn't do it like this. I think there are different ways to do it which are more respectful.
There are. I think you're right. There could be a more respectful way to do this. But at the end of the day, Pierce, you know better than anybody that this is a propaganda war. I mean, look at the IRGC's propaganda. This battle also plays out in the media. And so I think President Trump is fighting it in the media as well.
Okay. Well, we will find out. Thank you very much to my panel. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
So we did find out, and there is a ceasefire for 2 weeks. Amira, try go to YouTube. I don't know why is it not letting you comment? It's not letting Amira comment. That's weird. That's very weird. Beautiful people on YouTube. What do you guys think? Is it right? Nobody leave. EAB will stream every night, same time. Hey, look at that, sweet potato. Thank you so much. Can you guys hear me? Is everything good? Let me just double check that.
In the media. And so I think President Trump is fighting it.
What do you guys think? Okay. Beautiful people on TikTok. 42 people on TikTok. Please go on YouTube. Just type in EAB World. I'm currently live now. Go and subscribe. Like the live for me, guys. Set your bell notifications. That goes to all of you on YouTube as well. Set your bell notifications for all. We're just testing out YouTube. If YouTube is going to be better for us, then I'm going to stay on YouTube. Yeah. What do you guys think on YouTube, by the way? Please give me your honest opinion. Do you guys prefer it on YouTube? Is it easier for you guys? Let me know. Let me know. Beautiful people on TikTok. Look, there's 40 people there. Come over. Come over, guys. Come over to YouTube and subscribe. Subscribe and like. That was a good interview. Man, I am tired. It's 1:45, and you know, today I didn't really usually I would sleep. I would take like a little nap, but I didn't even do that. Who's it? Can you guys hear me? What's that? No TikTok, no X. Your follower limited edition. I've already started, but that's fine. We're at the end of the stream, so that's cool. Our first stream, we've done how long? 2 hours exactly. 2 hours exactly. Guys, let me know. What are you guys saying? Do we prefer YouTube? Yes or no? Is it still not letting you? I'm waiting for you to try and comment, Amira. Try and comment. Let's see what happens. How is it not letting you comment? That's weird. Hey, Keely says, love it on here. Good luck. Thank you so much. Van life. Let's go. How is it? Send me a screenshot of what it's showing you. That's weird. It shouldn't be like that. Everybody's commenting. But yeah. I like it. There's a couple more features I'm gonna learn. You guys get points as well. Look at this little point system. XP. That's that Xbox point system, literally called X points. That's crazy. A Sweet Potato, top fans, top family members. Sweet Potato, Christmas Fairy, Danny. Who was this? Susie. Is it Susie? I think it's Susie. Kelly, Van Life, Deborah. Look at Sher. Keely, Mike, Number, Janet, Jamie, RS, Silver. Let's go. The top 3 MVPs on YouTube: Sweet Potato, Christmas Fairy, and Danny. Let's go. Thank you so much. I like it on YouTube. So that's what we might do. Man, I'm sorry, guys. Let me see what else. What other features it's got? Hey, start a poll. Hey. Wait, actually, can I just start the poll like that? Okay, look, I'm doing a poll, guys. Can you see the poll? Yes or no if you guys are enjoying YouTube. Wait, it doesn't even show the option for no. Is there an option for no? Or is it just yes? Because I can't see no. Is there an option for no? Oh yeah, there is. Okay. Hey, we got 3 votes. Let's go. Let me look at other features then. Start a Q&A. Okay, you can start a Q&A as well. That's nice. Nice feature. Oh, hey, the chat's gone. Okay, it's back. Nice. That's so weird. Yeah, send me a screenshot, Amira. I'll have a look at it. Welcome to. Have you subscribed? If you subscribed, then it's still doing that. Oh, man. I'm definitely going to take a nap before I go straight live tomorrow. Okay, I think that's fine. There's a couple changes that TikTok is recommending me to do, so I'll do that before tomorrow's live. Beautiful people, same time, same place. I shall see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much. Shout out to each and every one of you for tuning in. Guys, we're going to be on TikTok and YouTube for a while. Let's see what happens. Send me a screenshot, Amira, of how it looks, and then I'll have a look. But thank you so much, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I shall see you guys tomorrow. As always, may God guide us all and protect us all. And yeah, Have a blessed day, guys. Continue smiling, and I shall see you guys very soon, God willing. Take care, guys. Bye bye.